Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Vihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Rama Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhotame Bhorama Mamudhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Sri Rama Nama Varanana Onnama Iti. So last time we finished, I think, verse 22. Now we are on verse 23. I hope all of you can see the document, the scan over here. So 23 is, so last time we saw that Kaikeyi asked for the boon of exiling Sri Rama and also to make Bharata as the king. So now comes verse 23. Sasatyavachanad Raja Dharmapashena Sanyataha Vivasayamasa Sutam Ramam Dasharatha Priyam. One more time. Sasatyavachanad Raja Dharmapashena Sanyataha Vivasayamasa Sutam Ramam Dasharatha Priyam. So we do the Padacheda for that. Should be not much is there. Saha Satyavachanad Raja Dharmapashena Sanyataha Vivasayamasa Sutam Ramam Dasharatha Priyam. Now the the Sandhi rule where the Visarga of the Saha and Eshaha, it drops when any consonant follows. Normally this, when you have Saha plus Satyavachanat, that Visarga should have stayed, like Namah Shivaya. But for Saha and Eshaha, that the Sakara of the Su, it drops when any consonant follows. Okay, so now the Tingantam Padam in this word, always first get to the heart of the sentence, and the heart of the sentence is the verb. Try to identify that, because verbs are very few, because 90% you're going to have only nouns and adjectives. The verbs are very few verbs. So it is good to pick out the verb and get the basic idea of what is the action going on in the sentence. So here we have Vivasayamasa, Vivasayamasa. And of course this comes in Bhagavad Gita, Darshayamasa, Ashvasayamasa. So you can probably try to guess it's the same kind of form. This comes in Gita in the 11th Adhyaya. It says Darshayamasa. When Sri Krishna showed the form to Arjuna, it comes Darshayamasa. And we also had Ashvasayamasa when he consoles him. Ashvasayamasa. Evam uktva tato rajan mahayogeshwaro hari Darshayamasa parthaya param rupamaishvam. So Darshayamasa. Now this is what is called as Anuprayoga lit form. Anuprayoga lit. Anuprayoga lit means that there is this dhatu is there. Just taken a lit pratyaya, and then following that a second dhatu has come. That's the anuprayoga part of it, which is either bhu, as or kru. In Bhagavad Gita only the dhatu as is used in the anuprayoga form. So there are two dhatus here. There's dhatu vas is there, upasarga is vi, and then there's also dhatu as is being used in anuprayoga form, anuprayoga lit. Now which dhatus do take the anuprayoga lit? Which dhatu takes the dvitva lit? Dvitva lit means like a word vacha, babhuva. So this is the dvitva lit. So can all of them take both or either? What are the rules for that? Okay. The most important rule is that whenever a dhatu becomes anekaj, more than one ach, or rather any derived dhatu. Any derived dhatu can only take the anuprayoga lit form. Cannot take dvitva lit form. It has to take the anuprayoga form. So it cannot just duplicate and form the lit form like that. It has to take the anuprayoga lit. Now all this comes in the Ashtadhyayi. We won't go into too much detail. But in 3.1, Panini tells us under which situations has the lit got to be anuprayoga. Means the is 3.135 to 40, only 4 or 5 rules, and the very first rule is saying that the kas pratyayad amamantre liti. So this pratyayad means it is to be derived, any derived form. in Katya Varti come from that is that any Anekash dhatu will take the Anuprayoga lit only. And then there are some other rules down there. And finally, Pani says, Krinchanu prajyate liti. So the kri is a pratyahara kri, means kru bhu as. Anuprajyate liti. It is used in conjunction with this other dhatu to lit pratyahara. So not going in all the details is that so this is the most important part, is that whenever you have any derived dhatu, derived means what? Like any causative form, in desiderative form, frequentative form, not just Shuddha dhatu from dhatu patha, any other form, and it has to do lit lakara out of that, it has to use this anuprayoga form. The second dhatu has to be used with it, and then it will get this pratyaya am in between also, this am. So this, if you see this am in there, and out of all derived dhatus, the causative ones are the most common. In fact, in Gita, only causatives. So darshayamasa. Dhatu drish is to see. So darshayati is to show. Means he showed him that form. Darshayamasa. Ashvasayamasa. Dhatu shvas is to breathe. But to make somebody breathe means to give him confidence. So ashvasayamasa means he gave him confidence. Ashvasayamasa. So we can even make it even simpler for us, is that all the causatives have to have the anuprayoga lit form. Okay. That is 90% is going to be the main one, is going to be the causative form. So it's a very common formation. When you cause somebody to do something, then only anuprayoga lit forms can be used. And so how do we recognize it? One more time. The arm will be there. Then the niche will become the I, become ayama. So this form ayama will be here. So that aya and ama will be there, and am, ayama. So we see that in between over here, and then lit like ending at the end with dhatu kru, bhu or as. Then that's how we recognize this anuprayoga lit form. Anuprayoga lit. One last note for you is that normally the dhatu as will change to bhu in any lakaraha except lat, lit, lung and vidiling. This is the only situation when the as can take on any other lakara, in this case lit lakaraha. So as can take lit only in this anuprayoga form. There is no form asa on its own. Only anuprayoga, only it can take it. Why? Because Panini says kru, bhu, as had to be used anuprayoga. Of course, if as has to be used anuprayoga means that it has to allow it to have the lit form, otherwise it cannot be used. Anuprayoga means that it brings its own lit with it. So we had the dhatu V plus vas. We made it causative. We made it vasi, because the causative pratyaya is a niche. The E is a causative. The niche is the affix which has to be used whenever when you have to make a causative form. So this causative form is 3.120. I think this sutram in Ashtadhyaya is hetumaticha. Is whenever you have a causative form, you have to use the niche pratyaya, hetumaticha. So the dhatu being vas, we had the V plus vas. V is upasarga, we'll keep that for last. So let's not worry about the V right now, because the upasarga does not participate in any of this. The upasarga does not participate in any of this prakriya. It comes, it's a separate padam. It comes last. So it doesn't actually involve any of this. So vas plus niche when you remove the itla by chutu halantyam. And then there's a rule which does the elongation of that prior becomes vasi. So vasi. And then to this vasi, when you have the lit lakara when you have to add, then comes the pratyaya. So what we have is vasi plus lit is what you have really. Vasi plus lit. Vasi plus lit is what the form we're looking at. And because this is a derived dhatu form, now it will not go through usual duplication and things like that. We'll take the pratyaya am, and then you will come a new, and when the am comes, this lit actually goes away. And either kru, bhu or as come there with their own lit pratyaya with it. So then we get vasi plus am plus in this case as plus a lit pratyaya for the as. Okay, so that's what is happening here. And then this E of vasi becomes I, becomes vasayam, and then this part becomes asa. This as plus lit is asa. Remember the lit endings, even though we have tip tas ji, as I mentioned in the prior class, is that every verb has to end in one of these 18 endings, tip tas ji, sip tas tha, and so on. So we should have had we're looking at a third person singular parasmepadi form. So we should have had the pratyaya tip coming over here. But in the lit lakara, what happens is that the tip tas ji become null atus us. Null atus us. So we get the pratyaya null coming in there. Null means only a, because chutu and halantyam, only the a remains at the end. So null atus us. And as I said to you also before, in lit lakara, we have to only worry about the third person. Because lit is parokshe lit. Parok once upon a time, not in the recent past. Parokshe lit. So generally speaking, these are used in past narrative like Puranas and Itihasas, all that. Lit lakara is used. So the good news is that only third person. Only third person. In Gita, only one form is used in first person. That's also Arjuna Vacha. But normally 99% of lit is only third person. So you don't have to worry about second person and first person. And those in Parasmepadi, it becomes null atus us. So remember these three endings, null atus us. So it will be either a or atus. So the endings tip tas ji, they become the null atus us. If you just know this much, you can recognize the form. So tip, the tas, and the ji, they change respectively to to the null. Null means only the a will remain, remove the anubandhas. And then the atus, null atus, and then us, null atus us. Remember these three endings, null atus us. So if you have parasmapadam and if you have lit lakara, then it should be ending in one of these, like uvacha, istiva uvacha. With anuprayoga lit or dvitva lit, doesn't matter. Still, it has to end in one of these three. It's parasmapadam. So ashva. So you have the vivasaya masa. That one you have. So this as plus lit becomes asa. This part becomes asa. So that so finally we get the form. So the niche becomes I, and so we get the we're not doing all the steps, but let me put this down here. We get so this was become was I, and then we get the arm, and this becomes asa. So it becomes asa with the ending. This becomes a, and then the ending o is there at the end. Vivasayamasa. Okay. So viva and the upasarga vikam vivasa yamasa. So that's the finding. So means we was is to dwell. Vivas is to dwell away, to live away, to live abroad. So vivas, and to cause to live abroad means to exile. When you cause to live abroad means to exile him. So vivasayamasa means he exiled. Now who is the subject of that? Anybody in the class? Who is subject of vivasayamasa? Who is subject of that? We require somebody to be in the prathama vibhakti, in the third person. So vivasayamasa, who is the subject of that? Yeah, Vasu should know that. Let me pick on Vasu. Let's see. Vasu, subject of vivasayamasa. Dasharatha. And qualifying is Saha. So Saha Dasharatha. So Saha Dasharatha means that Dasharatha. Now Sa is a Tatpadam. Tat means that Dasharatha. That means who. Normally when you have a Tatpadam, Yat Padam apekshate. There should be some Yat Padam somewhere. So whom, But there is no Yat Padam in the shloka itself. So we have to look around. And in the prior shloka, we had this on the one prior, Varam Enamayachata. Varam Enamayachata. See, he asked him for a boon. And then that King Dasharatha, who was asked for the boon. So let's connect with the prior shloka. So when you have this Tatpadam, without a Yat Padam, then you should try two things. Just take it from the context. Or it could be also Prasiddham. Saha Prasiddha Dasharatha. He who was famous, who was well known. Saha Bhagavan means that famous Lord. But here it is going to be from the prior shloka. So Saha Dasharataha, Purvoktaha Dasharataha, Vivasayamasa. And the object of Vivasayamasa is whom? Who's the Vivasayamasa? I think Prasanna can help us with that. Let me try her. I think that's pretty easy. You're looking for Dvitiya Ekavachanam now.
Yes, Satish, is Ramam.
Raman, and qualifying him is two adjectives for him there.
Sutam.
Sutam.
Priyam Sutam Ramam.
Priyam Sutam Ramam Vivasayamasa. So he exiled Rama. So Priyam Api, supply the Api there. So even though he was beloved to him, he exiled him, his son Rama. So Priyam Sutam Ramam Vivasayama. So, okay. Now, Dasharatha has one adjective. Which is that person? What adjective was Dasharatha? There are only three words left now. Actually, he has two adjectives.
That is a Satyavachana Raja.
Is Panchami Bhakti, is Panchami.
Okay.
So Dasharatha is Prathama. So when you have the adjective, which has to take the same gender number case generally of the thing is called
Samyataha?
Sanyata. So I'll make it
Sanyata.
Sanyata. Yeah, that's the pronunciation. You should never make it a makara because of why you have sam plus yataha, then you get the monuswaraha, and then anuswarasya parasavarna vapadantasya, right? So, but it will either be the anuswaraha or the yam. It will not be sam. So sanyataha. Sanyataha. And other adjective is that's one. Other one is it's Raja.
Okay.
Raja. So Raja Dasharatha is Raja is kind of qualifying Dasharatha. So the king Dasharatha exiled his beloved son Rama. And then comes who was Sanyataha. Yam is to control. So Yam is to control. Sanyata means he was under the control of, is bound by. Baddhaha. Then connecting to that is Dharma Pashena Sanyataha. Dharma Pashena Baddhaha. So now Dharma Pashena, because this is a passive construct. It's a passive construct. So he was bound, he was constrained by the noose, Pashaha, in the form of Dharma. What kind of compound is this? You want to take a shot at that, any chance?
Dharma.
The compound generally is it a Dvandva compound? Is it A and B?
No.
It is no. For what reason? Because if it had been A and B, it would have been a dual form also. Dharma and Pasha. Secondly, Dharma and Pasha are not two separate items. There is so.
Is it a Tritiya? I'm just guessing. Tritiya. What is Tritiya Tatpurusha?
Well, then it will be Dharmena Pasha. Is that what you want?
No.
Is that you don't want that? Okay. Then what is so Dvandva is out. It's not Dharma and Pasha.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's see. Vasu's hand is up. Let's give him a chance. Let's see. Vasu is going to try. So Prasanna did a good job. Let's see. Vasu is yes. Vasu.
Shashti.
Dharmasya Pasha. Could be. The noose of Dharma. Could be any other possibility. Purnima wants to try. Okay. Yes, Purnima. I guess your mic may not be working because we cannot hear you. Okay. All right. So if you maybe you can type your answer or maybe check your mic because we cannot. I see your hand going up, but I cannot hear you. So, okay. I'll keep you unmuted. Maybe you can.
Satish ji.
Yes.
Karmadharaya.
Yes, Karmadharaya also is a possibility. It's a possibility because we could have had the it as dharma eva pashaha. Dharma eva pashaha. So it is the noose in the form of dharma. That's also a possibility. Dharma eva. In fact, actually, it is. If I think this book which we are using some time ago by this with Rashtriya Sanskrita Samsthanam, they have given it as dharmasya pashaha athva dharma eva pashaha. I probably like this one as dharma eva pashaha, like adnyana shrinkhala. Adnyana shrinkhala means the shackle of ignorance. In English, with the shackle of ignorance, we say jnanamrutam. Jnanamrutam is the nectar in the form of jnanam. So these are karmadharyas, But the only small problem is that in karmadharya you require normally adjective noun. Adjective noun. So dharma is not an adjective. So we have to, but the sutram has a says visheshanam visheshana bahulam. So bahulam means that this allows some flexibility is there. So we have to say dharma eva pashaha or dharma rupaha pashaha. The pasha in the form of dharma. They also mean that's what is called as a shaka parthiva. When you have to tweak the karmadharya to make the prior element into an adjective, it's called shaka parthiva. You have to supply an uttara pada for the purva pada. Shaka parthiva means vegetable king, means the vegetable loving king. So shaka priya parthiva. So dharma rupa pasha could have been said. So there are various ways you can describe the compound. Dharmasya pasha. But the dharmasya pasha, I don't like it to make it be like a pasha belonging to dharma. The pasha belonging to dharma doesn't sound that good. I think karmadharya probably is better. So you can either make it use the bahulam. What is called as avadharana purapadam. Avadha means for emphasis. The purapadam is for emphasis. It's a pasha. So pasha is pradhana. But the dharma is for emphasis. It is pasha in the form of dharma. Or you can make shaka partha or make it dharma rupa pasha if you really want to make it. Okay, so dharma pashena sanyata. It's a passive construct. So in the passive, what happened? The karta goes in tritya vibhakti. So he was, because the sanyata has a passive form. The dhatu is yam. Dhatu is yam. So some of these dhatu, they drop their nasal before this the jhaladi kiniti. This sutra is 6437. Won't go in details, but it says these 6 dhatus which are anit dhatus in makara and nakaranta, yamanama, gamarama, and hanamana. These and the dhatu vanati and the dhatus of the 8th kana ending in nasal. All of these people, they drop their nasal. When you have the jaladi, kitnit pratyaya. Pratyaya is kta. So you have yam plus kta. So 6437 is anudatthopadesha tanotyadinam. Vanati tanotyadinam. It's a long sutram, 6437. Anudatthopadesha vanati tanotyadinam anunasika lopo jalikinti. So yam plus kta becomes yata. Sanyata. So yam plus kta. I just put the number on the document without too much detail, but yam. A very common sutram like gatihi, matihi, all is like akshata. When you do puja, you akshata, right? So dhatu kshan. Kshan plus ta is kshan is to like injure, to hurt. So akshata means unbroken rice is called akshata. So kshan become kshata. So it's a very common rule which we used a lot. So right now we have the dhatu yam. It has to be anit dhatu. Then only this thing works. Yam anudatthopadesha. So yam plus the pratyaya kta. And we get the form yata by 6437. Yata by 6437. Okay, so this is a passive construct. So he was constrained by the nous in the form of dharma. Nakam satyavachanat. Satyavachanat. This is a panchami bhakti. Part of it is satyavachana. Satya means true, unfailing. Vachana means like his speech or word. Could be, in this case, a pratignya also you can take it. So here the commentator says satya vachanat equals satya pratignatvat ityarthaha. So they have made it, I shouldn't say they, because this could also be either a karmadharya, could also be a bahuvrihi. So if you make it karmadharya, means satyancha adaha vachanancha. So this is the it will become the true word on account of his true word. So that the panchami is probably going to be on account of, due to his true promise. It could be. It could also be qualified as a bahuvrihi. Is that satyam vachanam yasya saha. He is one of true promise. He is one whose promise is whose word is true. He is one whose word is true. So then the meaning will become, and that's open to interpretation. But the bahuvrihi meaning probably, again, respecting the commentator also. Bahuvrihi meaning probably fits better here. It says that since he was one of whose word was true, that king, Dasharatha, who was bound by the nous in the form of dharma, he exiled his son Ramaha, even though he was dear to him. With the translation. So Satyavachanat could have been a karmadharya. So due to his true word, on account of his true word. Or it could be since he was one whose promise was true. So Satyavachanat. And the commentator says Satya Pratignatvad ityartaha. Because on account of his nature of being true to his promise, due to that. Okay, who wants to do translation for us? Any volunteers? Let me see, somebody new. Rima wants to do, Rami. Vasudha wants to do, yes. Okay, Vasudha, let's see.
Muted.
Okay, Vasudha.
Namaste, Satyaji.
Namaste. I think you have to get the headphone mic next time. It's okay, you can do it. Let's see. I think it's on the next page. Okay. I'll give you one word and now bound. What's the word for bound?
Samyataha.
Sanyataha.
Sanyataha.
Okay.
Sanyataha.
Okay. By the tie of duty.
Dharmapasena.
Dharmapashena. So this is all around what I guess what Vasu was saying is that this Dharmapashena, Dharmasya, in English it says the tie of duty. So even though if you look at the English translation, it look like a Shashitat Purusha. Like we say the nectar of knowledge. Even we say nectar of, in English we say nectar of knowledge. It means the nectar in the form of knowledge. But it still could be karmadharya, I think. So okay. So tie in the form of his plighted word. Now due to his ever speaking the truth.
Due to ever speaking truth. Okay. Satyavachanat.
Satya. That due to is the Panchami ending, by the way. That due to is the Panchami ending. So due to is that Panchami, that At ending, Panchamavachanat. And his, look at, they made the Bahuvrihi here. See, this is how these people translate, all the scholars. What they do is that they take all the commentaries and all the prior translation. Of course, they are scholars themselves. And then they generally try to give the commentator his due, They generally try to respect the commentator. And only once in a while they will deviate from him. The commentator clearly has told us Satya Pratignatvat ityartaha. So they put exactly translation, they put the translation which is given in the commentary is actually a translation of the commentary, not of the Satyavachanat. See, due to his ever speaking the truth. So they make it Bahuvrihi. So Satyam Vachanam Yasya Saha. So because he was one who always spoke the truth, or whose word was always unfailing. So, okay. How about the word king? What do you have for that, Vasudha?
Raja.
Raja, very good. Raja. It comes in Gita, right? Raja Vachanam Abravita. But this Raja cannot be Ramavat Shabda. It cannot be. If it had been Ramavat, it would have been Raja. It's become Raja. Pratama Ekvachan, it become Raja. So Prajapati here is Rajan, not Raja. So it's Rajan. Okay. Now, actually in Gita, I'm sorry, I keep going to Gita all the time because that's my nature. I guess Prakritam Yanti Bhutani, right? Nigra Kim Karishyati. Gita says that. Okay, what happened in the Gita on the very first page of the Gita? You'll find this thing called Raja Vachanam Abravit. Then you'll have Kashi Rajascha Viryavan. See, this is so. See, Raja is here with second shloka, same as we have the shloka right here. So Raja. And then you have the Kashi Rajascha. Now that became like Ramavat now. Kashi Raja. So now how come we had Raja as becoming Prathama Ekvachanam? In Kashi Raja, also Prathama Ekvachanam. What has happened because of the compound formation, it has taken a special ending. Okay, what was the question?
No, I didn't have a question. I thought it was a Samastapadam. That's why it is.
Yes,
different.
correct. The Samas is what's called Samasantaha. The special rule which changed the Rajan to Raja. That's what has happened. So in case you're wondering how come in the same page of Gita, this is not a typo. It's not a typo. It's correct. So this is because of the Samasanta Pratyaya has come. So that's what happened in the Gita. The Samasanta all come at end of 5.4, And there is sutram called Raja Sakibhyashtach. So Raja Ahan and Sakhi. They take the pratyaya touch. Raja Sakibhyashtach. So the word Raja is specifically mentioned by Panini. So that is the reason. Let me try to give the number. We'll move on. Raja just touch. Let's see, that's number 5491. So it became Raja. Anyway, okay. So that's why in case you're wondering how we have Raja and Rajaha, because the compound formation gave us the special thing over there. Okay, and the next one, let me unmute Vasudha again. Dasharataha. Vasudha? Dasharataha.
Dasharatha, Dasharatha.
Dasharataha. So Sakshat Shloke Vidyate eva. This is the shloka itself. Now exiled.
Exiled. Vivasayamasa.
Vivasayama. So we saw it's a causative form. Dhatu V plus was. Anupragaha lit. Vivasayama. So now his beloved.
Priyam.
It is understood. Yeah, Priyam. Priyam is actually Priyam is one who pleases his Priyam. It's actually an active form. So Prinati iti Priyaha. So it is beloved is Priyam and son
Sutam.
Sutam and Rama is Rama. Okay, good. So this was the easy shloka, but Ramayanam, as I told you, is a very beautiful thing, because in very small steps Valmiki builds your vocabulary, builds your confidence. You'll be surprised, because this seems like a very easy shloka, no, right? Because like Sutam is son, Ramam is Ramam, Priyam is beloved, Raja is the king. Of course, the translation makes it look very easy also. So that's also nothing. But it's okay. In the beginning, read the English, don't worry. And just try to connect with the first thing is Samyagucharanam. Then read the translation, try to connect the word whichever you can. And if you know some Vyakaranam, you can try to apply the rules that you know. Okay, so that itself will take you a long way in learning this language. Because this Gita Press has given us this beautiful translation of course Gita, Ramayanam, Bhagavatam. So if you just keep on reading, that's the objective of this class, is to introduce you to these two books of the Gita Press translation. The beautiful job that they have done. You can learn the whole language by just slowly keep. And if you don't understand, especially, don't worry, leave it out. It's okay. Even if you get 10%, 20% in the beginning, it's okay. Next time you'll get another 2%, 5%. You keep on going. Keep on going. And then you'll be ready for grammar, because then you'll be reading the shlokas, you'll be getting the meaning, and you'll be wondering, how come this meaning came. You can read more grammar for that. Okay, let's take the next shloka now. Also, I told you one more thing is that if you look at the translation, they've taken shloka 24 as a single shloka. Then they've taken from 25 to 28 is that is taken as ekanvayi, is taken as a samuha. So why have they done that? They've done that because what happens is that in the 25 and the first half of 26 is a single sentence. So this 25 entire shloka and first half of 26 completes the sentence. So they don't want to stop in the middle of the shloka. So they end up taking with the entire thing 25. And of course, from 26 second half up to 28, there's one sentence. Now, one sentence means, well, how do I know one sentence? Ekating vakyam. Is because here there is this, we have the anujagama. Anujagama is the verb, the one verb. And then comes, actually there's one more vakyam. The one vakyam is that anugata, you supply, asit. So anugata is one form here. And the last one also is anugataha. So these three are either verbs or functioning as verbs. Anujagama is actually a verb. Anugata has the force of a verb. It's actually a participle, where it gives the verbal meaning. And so that's how we know there are only two things. So that's why in the translation, like 24 is a single shloka. And actually 25 and first half of 26 is one shloka. See, shloka only gives the meter. It doesn't tell you that one sentence is over, two sentences is over. It doesn't tell you that at all. It only counts the syllables. That's all it does. Of course, many times, majority of the times, a shloka will mean one sentence, but doesn't have to be at all. Okay, so you have to be ready for that. And looking at the translation, you can also get the feel for, maybe this is not a full sentence, maybe half a sentence. Okay. Okay. Sajagama vanam viraha patinyamanupalayam piturvachana nirdeshat kaikeyash priya karanat. Again, if you don't know any vyakaranam, you don't know anything, just keep on reading, keep on reading, keep on reading. Sajagama vanam viraha. Pratignyam Pitur Vachana Nirdeshat Kaikeyaf Priya Karanat. When we speak English, we listen to English for years. Literally like a million words go into our head before we start speaking English. And here, we don't even read half a page a day. And we want to learn Sanskritam. So that is since you keep on reading, keep on reading, keep on reading, keep on reading. It'll come. It's a special language. It'll give you that, the jnana pradhanam swayam bhavishyati. It will automatically come to you. You get the feel of the language. Okay, one more time. Sa jaga, loudly, clearly, slowly. Shanaihi spashtam prithavyam. Sa jagam vanam viraha. Pratignyam Pitur Vachana Nirdeshat Kaikeyaf Priya Karanat. So Saha, again the same rule before that we have this sutram in 61132 Etat Tadoho Sulopaha Hali. So this Eshaha and Saha, they drop the Visargaha when any Hadal follows. This special rule because normally you should have had the Sasajushoruho, should have had the Kharavasana Visarjaniyascha Saha. But overriding all of that is this Etat Tadoho Sulopo Akoranyang Samase Hali. This is in the Sapada Saptadhyaya itself. In the beginning, in 7.1 itself, in the Sapada Saptadhyaya, this rule comes. So before we can go to Sasajushoru or anything else, that's all Tripadikaryam. This one comes and remove that Sakara itself for only Eshaha and Saha. So this is a very special word, these. And of course, within those two, the Saha is a much more common word. Saha is much more common. So should have become, actually in this case, I'm sorry, should have had this should have been like Namo Narayana. Should have become So Jagama. Should have become So Jagama. Should have had the Hashicha and all that, and then Adgunaha. But it became Sa Jagama. So Saha, Jagama, Vanam, Viraha, Patinyam, Anupalayan, Pituhu, Vachana Nirdeshat. Pituhu, Vachana Nirdeshat. So Pitu is a Pratak Padam, and the Vachana Nirdeshat is a Samastam Padam. It's a Samasaha. Kaikeyaha, Priya Karanat is also a Samastam Padam. Now how do you know we're within a Samasa? How do you know that? Because the sup ending has been lost. When you say Vachana Nirdeshat, that Vachana has no sup ending left over there. That's how you know you're in the compound. You know you're in the compound. We didn't say Vachanam, Vachanani, Vachanena, Vachaneshu, Vachanabhyam, Vachanaya. Nothing was there. It could be Hey Vachana, but that meaning will not fit at all. So Hey Vachana. So that's how we know. On the other hand, the Pituhu, that has been declined. The Pitru Pradipadikkam Pitru become Pitu Shashti Ekavachanam has come here. So that is not in the compound. Same thing, Kaikeyaha is the Subantam Dushyate Spashtam. It is there. So Tasma Samastam Padam Nasti. It is not a Samasaha. But Priya Karanat, again, it could have been Hey Priya. But then the Priya Karanat, the word Priya has no sup ending over there. The Sutram of Panini is Supo Dhatu Pradipadikkam Yoho. Supo Dhatu Pradipadikkam Yoho. Because we already saw in the earlier session today that all samasas get a Pradipadikkam status. Because of Krut, Tadhita, Samasascha. And then within a samasa, the sup ending drops. So that's how you identify compounds. Okay. So let's see who wants to do this for us. Maybe somebody wants to do this for us. Let's see. Vasu can do. Vasudha, Veera. Okay. Maybe Jaya can do for us. You want to try this one?
Which means 12.
Okay. What's the verb in this sentence?
Hello?
Yeah. What's the verb in this sentence? What is the verb in this sentence? It is Jagama, right?
Yeah.
So the verb is Jagama. So Jagama is what? Again, the same ending. We saw lit lakara. We saw the dhatu being gum. We saw lit lakara ending is null atus us. So remember these three endings. Null atus us. That means only atus and us. These are three endings. So Jagamo has the ending in there. Now you see a duplication also going on there. Now these duplication rules are very few, only 5-6 rules, and they are very, very useful. I would highly recommend that you make some effort, at least know where these rules are, is what is called in the Abhyasa Bhage, Vishesha Karyam. So Abhyasasya Adhikara of Panini, which goes in the 7.4, is Abhyasasya. We don't have time to do it in this class, but I would again point them out to you. It really makes, because what happens is that at least you can confirm the Abhyasa being correct or wrong. So if you make a guess at the dhatu, if the dhatu is this, the Abhyasa should be such and such. That's very useful knowledge. Because here in 7458 starts the Athalopa Abhyasasya. That Abhyasasya in 7458 goes to end of 7.4. And these 7459, 60, 61, 62, and 66. Only these. Even 61 you can leave. So 59, 60, 62, 66. And actually you have also the 5, 4, 8, 4, 50. One rule is not here, is 8, 4, 53. So if you just remove these 5, 6 rules, they'll really give you a big bang for the buck. Is how to deal with Abhyasa. 5, 4, 54, Abhyasa Charcha. So since it's not a grammar class, I'll tell you what the rules applying here are. Is we had gum, gum. So in the Abhyasa, a consonant can stay only if it is the first member. So in the Abhyasa, the gum, the makara went away. It is not the first member of the Abhyasa. So we have only ga, gum. So rule is haladisheshaha. So haladisheshaha. So hal shishyate adihi chet. So anye halaha lupyante. So the remaining are lost. So gum became ga, gum. And then kuhoshchuhu. In the Abhyasa, the ka vargaha becomes cha vargaha in Abhyasa. So this is the ka varga in Abhyasa, and also the hakara. So kuhoho. So ka varga hakara yoho. So cha varga adesha bhavati. So that ga became ja. So jagama. Like in Gita, chikirshur loka sangraham. So chikirshuhu. That dhatu is kru. There's some special rules coming there, but the ka went to cha in the Gita, isn't it? That is the kuhoshchuhu. The ka varga becomes cha varga in Abhyasa. Okay, so that ja. And then the last, there's one rule which that the dirgha of this ga became gama. That's the atopadhaya 72116. So we get the form jagama. So this is always try to get to the verb. So this is where Panini knowledge is very almost indispensable, because you can attack the verb and decipher it. And even if you don't get all the adjectives and all that, it's okay. You got the main action of the shloka, you got what's going on. You got the gist of it, you got, So, saha, viraha, vanam jagama. So, is that heroic Rama, he went to the forest. So, saha is prathama ekvacham, jagama, as we said, is the prathama purushaha, yitlakaraha, parasmai padam, it is the ekavachanam. So, vanam is dvitiya ekvachanam, and viraha is prathama ekvachanam pullingaha. Now, pratignyam anupalayan. Pratignyam anupalayan. Pratignya is a feminine noun. Pratignyam is a dvitiya ekvachanam. The moment you say dvitiya, the next question to ask is that, it says, which is the dhatu which is supporting that dvitiya? So, dvitiya cannot stand on its own. It has to require tingandam padam, krudantam, or it has to require some avyayaha maybe, right? So it says, so kam dhatum ashritaha. So which dhatu is it relying on? So kam dhatum ashritam vidam padam, or kam dhatum ashrita iyam dvitiya iti vaktavyam. So which dhatu is it resting on? And it is the anupalayan. Anupal is the object of anupalayan. So anupalayan, this dhatu pal is to protect. 10th gana dhatu. You look at the aya, this formation. Aya is the 10th gana person. What happens is aya is that really, how this aya comes about is that you have the dhatu if you take pal, and then because this is 10th gana, you have to add the pratyaya nich, swarthe nich, and of course chutu halantyam, only the e remains, and so you get the new dhatu pali. Sanajanta dhatava. So you get the dhatu pali. Now to that you have to add the lat pratyaya. We're going to skipping some of the steps. You want to make a present participle. Present participle, pratyaya shatru comes in here. Shatru. This shatru comes in here, and then comes the pratyaya. In here is the shap pratyaya comes. So shap. So when this happens, what happens is that the shap does the gunaha of their ending e becomes pale, and then you do the echo yavayava sandhi and get the form palaya. So that is how that aya comes, because that nich takes gunaha, and then echo yavayava sandhi, and then that's how this nich taking guna, and then become the aya by echo yavayava sandhi. Of course, shap is only the Shakwatadite halantyam, only a remains. So this is what we get. We get the form palai plus a will give the palaya. So that's why I say look for the aya. Look for the, if you think it's a causative form, then look for the aya. If you in this, at least in this 4 lakaras, that lot lung withering forms, when that shap comes, it'll give the form aya will be in there. Palai. Now, also remember the shap is the default gana vikaranam. Only in the second, third, fourth, etc. the shap is overruled. Now this is a derived dhatu. So all derived dhatu will only take shap. The shap will not be overruled in the case of derived dhatu. So shap is either default. We should not say that shap is for first gana. The shap is default for all dhatus. And then specifically in Ganapatha dhatus in second, third, fourth, sixth up to ninth gana, they'll overrule the shap. They have their own gana vikaranams they bring in. But everything else, which includes all nijantas and all the derived dhatus, they all will use shap only. So that's how we get the palaya. So this nich taking guna and become echo yavaha becoming I, combining with the shap gives that aya. So look out for that aya. So buddhim mohayasi, let's look at Bhagavad Gita, one shloka quickly for you. And that is the buddhim mohayasi vame, mohayasi. So Arjuna is complaining, you're kind of messing up my mind, he says. Buddhim mohayasi vame, he says. So, here he says mohayasi. So again the aya, mohayasi, that aya is in there. So that this is a causative form. You're causing my mind to be deluded. You're messing up my mind, mohayasi. Okay, so that aya is, but this happens to be present participle. Present participle is palayan, means protecting the promise. And look at this word pituhu. Pituhu is a shashti, it can go both ways. So pituhu pratignyamanupaalayan, pituhu vachana nirdeshat. This is the Dehali Deepa Nyaya you can apply here. That pituhu is nicely put in between there. So it has the ubhaya sambandha, it connects both sides. Both sides, it connects both sides. Now this present participle form is very beautifully comes in the 5th Adhyaya of Gita. You have that whole string of shatru pratyas. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Svishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Sapan, Shvasan, Palapan, Decision, Grindhan, Mishan, Nimishan, Napi. So this is the same thing. Pratipalayan is the Anupalayan is this means protecting. It's a present participle. Present participle. This Lat Lakaraha can, instead of taking Tiptaji and becoming into a verbal form, can also become a present participle form by taking the Shatru or the Shanach. So all of these, look at this whole string of them over here. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Spishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Sapan, Shvasan, Palapan, Visijan, Grinhan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Napi. And Vyasa is very, 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 also Dharayan also down there, Dharayan. In fact, this is like Pal. Look at this one. This is even better for it because this is just like Palayan. This Dharayan. Look at the aya in between there. The aya is there and the an is there. The present participle. So he carefully chooses all the dhatus, which Prasnapaji dhatus he chose. So Vyasa chose all the Prasnapaji dhatus to get the nice effect. So all these are Prathama Ayeka Vachanam Shatranta Shabda. So all of these are like that. So the same thing Anupalayan means this is an adjective form. In there's another difference. In English they become avyas. He is going, she is going, we are going, all are going, I am going. But here this has to be declined. So Ramaha gachan, Sita gachanti, Rama Lakshmanao gachantau. So you have to be, it has to be declined in accordance with the thing is qualifying. So he is qualifying Viraha Shri Ramaha Patignyam Anupalayan Vanam Jagama. So he went to the forest protecting the promise of his father, Pituhu. Now Pituhu is actually is Pitru Pratipadikam. And now what happens is that this is a Shashti Ekavachanam of Pitru. So we will need some rule because the default pratyaya is Nyas. Is Nyas pratyaya. If you look at this Su, just a note in that list when you go down. Nyas os am. So Nyas is the default. Rashakvatadhyate. So become the As is left behind. So now Panini has to find some way to make the R into the Pituhu. Pituhu. So the final form we want is Pituhu. So that the sutram is again in the Pura Parayoha Ekadesha. Panini makes this sutram Urat. Urat. And the Nyasi and Nyas is there. The between the R and the A becomes the U. Urandraparaha becomes Pitur, and the Sakara goes away, and then you get the Pitur. So not going through all the steps, but sutram is Urat. Sorry, Rutaut. Rutaut. Not Urat. Urat is an Abhyasa. It's a very confused sutta. These suttas sound the same almost. Rutaut and Urat. We want Rutaut is what we want right now. That was in the Pura Parayoha Ekadesha. Just below that is the sutram which says the Rutaut. So 61111. So use 61111. So I'll just put it like that over here. So use 61111 to get the form Pituhu. Okay. Otherwise it will be difficult to recognize because we're normally not used to the Shashti coming out like that, So it can be Panchami also. But it's Shashti in our case. So Pituhu and Shashti means Sambandha. You made the connection. So Pituhu Vachana Nirdeshat and Pituhu Pratignya Anupalayan. Okay, now Vachana Nirdeshat, again a compound. Let's go through our usual steps. Is this Dvandva? No. Vachana is like his word. Nirdesha is command. So word, command. It's not word and command. It's not. Because anyway, this Ekavachanam is there, Nirdeshat. Is it an Avyabhavaha? No, it has to be declined. Is it a Bahuvrihi? No. The Nirdesha is clearly in the word, in the Samasa. So due to the command of his father. So now we come to Tatpurusha land. Can it be Vachanena Nirdeshaha? Could be Vachanena Nirdeshaha, Vachanena Nirdeshaha, Vachanad Nirdeshaha, Vachanasya Nirdeshaha, Vachanasya Nirdeshaha. Or we can just say Vachanam Eva Nirdeshaha. His word was his command. So just like we had in the prior shloka when we had that Dharma Pashaha. So similarly we can use Vachana Nirdeshaha as Vachanam Eva Nirdeshaha. Or we can make it a Shaka Parthiva, say Vachana Rupa Nirdeshaha. His command in the form of his word. So his very word was his command. So Vachanam Eva Nirdeshaha Karmadharyaha. And then Tasmat is that, that due to that. So due to the command of his father. Due to the command of his father in the form of his word. And then one more reason is being given. Kaikeyaha. Kaikeyaha is the Shashti Ekvachanam of Kaikeyi, like Nadyaha. So Kaikeyaha. Priya Karana. So now this is another instance where there's a term hanging outside a samasa, connecting to a part of the samasa, particularly the first part. So Kaikeyaha Priya Karanat means that, and also to please Kaikeyi, and also for the reason, for the pleasure of Kaikeyi, in order to accomplish something which is pleasing to Kaikeyi. So it says, so Kaikeyaha Priya Karanat. If you look at the commentary, Priya Karanat Priya Siddhi Nimittam, in order to, and for another reason, which was the pleasure of Kaikeyi. The pleasure of Kaikeyi was the other reason why he went to the forest. Priya Karanat. Now, see, the Kaikeyaha should not be outside the compound really, because it should be because if you take it outside the compound, when something goes outside a compound, it can only connect with the whole compound now, not with inside a padam which is a part of the compound. Here Kaikeyi is connecting only with the Priya. So Kaikeyaha Priya, that the connection stops there, doesn't go to Karanat. But this is a conventional language, we can use this sometimes. Is that, and the most, in Gita, the biggest example that I have, which is, in the second adhyaya, is that Bhishma Drona Pramukataha Sarveshancha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Paschetan Samavetan Kuruniti. So Bhishma Drona Pramukataha, in front of Bhishma and Drona, Shri Krishna said, look at these Kurus. So, actually first adhyaya, Bhishma Drona Pramukataha Sarveshancha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Paschetan Samavetan Kuruniti. So if he says, so Bhishma Drona Pramukataha, is in front of Bhishma and Drona, Sarveshancha Mahikshitam, in front of all the kings. Here it is, number 25. So Bhishma Drona Pramukataha, in front of Bhishma and Drona. Okay, that's fine. But then Sarveshancha Mahikshitam is Shashti Bhakti. And of all the kings. All the kings what? There's nothing there. Because that's in this part is part of the compound. Pramukataha is part of the compound now. So Bhishma Drona Pramukataha in front of Bhishma and Drona, but it's gone in the compound now. And then comes Sarveshancha Mahikshitam. Pramukataha. So this is even more blatant because here this is Uttara Padam is compounding with these two fellows outside. Sarveshancha Mahikshitam Pramukataha. So this is even a rarer case where you have this second member, which is kind of connecting now with these outside people. Just that, not the Bhishma Drona, but only this second part. So in bottom line is that particularly the first member will be allowed to connect to a thing outside the compound, even though that really technically should not be the case. So Kaikeyaha Priya Karana. So here also you can probably take the Priyam Eva Karanam. So Kaikeyaha Priyam Eva Karanam. The reason is the pleasure of Kaikeyi. The reason was to do something was pleasing to Kaikeyi. That was the reason. So Priyaka again is not a Dvandva, it's not a Avyabhava, it's not a Bahuvrihi. And then you have to make it some kind of a Karmadharya. So you have to maybe tweak the left hand side, make it Priyam Eva Karanam. So actually in this book of this Sankshepa Ramayanam, they're given this as a I think he gave it as Satyavachanat, Priyam Eva Karanam. They give it as a Priyam Karanam is a Karmadharya, like a the pleasing reason. It's not a pleasing reason. I think that is a bit. I think maybe. I'm looking at the compound just today in this book. I don't know. That's Chintaniyam. It says Priya Karanat, and when they do the compound, it's Priyam Chatat Karanam, Priya Karanam, Karmadharya. So the pleasing reason. That doesn't seem to make sense. Not a pleasing reason to Kaikeyi. I think the Priyam Eva Karanam. So the reason was her pleasure. So anyway, we can think about this one. But this looks like the Avadharana Purvapada Karmadharya. So Priyam Eva Karanam. So yeah, compounds a little bit tricky. You get some practice with them. And the main thing, read the good commentaries on that. That also could be a good way to see that. So that was on account of that reason. So the second reason why he went to the forest. Okay, who wants to do the English for us? Anybody wants to do the English volunteer? Vasu can. Oh, Vasu can do. Anybody else? Okay, Vasu wants to try. All right, let's give Vasu a chance. Okay, so let's see. In obedience to his father's command. Oh, in the form of the boon. Okay, so I guess this is all going to be one thing. Okay, let's see. What would that be, Vasu?
Pitru Vachana Nirdeshat.
Correct. So Pitur is of his father. Okay. Now in obedience to the Panchami Bhakti, the Panchami of that, the Panchami which is due to that, means in obedience.
Nirdeshat.
No, Nirdeshat is the command. Nirdesha is the command. Okay.
Yeah.
And in the form of the boon is that the vachanam eva nirdesha. The vachanam was that the vachanam to Kaikeyi that he had given, the boon. So in the form of the boon means vachanam, we can then, if you want to make a shakabhat here, vachana rupa nirdesha. And then tasmat. So this in obedience to, this one is the Panchami Vibhakti is coming here. This Panchami is means due to. So due to that. So in obedience to. His father's is the Pituhu Shashti Bhakti. We already saw that. The command is Nirdesha. Adesha, I can say. So Shasanat. And then in the form of the boon is the Vachana, and they are making it in the form of. So Vachanam eva nirdeshaha, Vachana rupa nirdeshaha, and then tasmat. So for due to that. Okay. And then in brackets, granted by him in favor of Kaikeyi, obviously. And with a view to pleasing Kaikeyi. What is that, Vasu?
Kaikeya Priyakaranath.
Priyakarana. So really they made slightly differently. So and for another reason, which was the pleasure of Kaikeyi. Really that will be the word to word translation. But they mean the view to pleasing Kaikeyi. So it's almost like they make it like a chaturthi almost, So because I think this is maybe find the commentary and make it more readable in English. That's what they're making it more readable in English.
Kaikeya should be Chaturthi, right?
No, because what will be Chaturthi of Nadi? Namo Devyai Mahadevyai Shivai Satutannama Devyai. So Kaikeyai at Devyai. So if you take Devi Pratipadikam, Ni become Nadyai, Devyai. So Kaikeya is a Shashti. So Kaikeyaha Priyam. So the Kaikeyaha is the pleasure of Kaikeyi was the reason why he went. So but they, in English they made it as with a view to pleasing Kaikeyi. They paraphrase a little bit to make it more sense. Then the heroic Rama. What is that?
Viraha Sa.
Rama is Saha Viraha. So that is the Saha, that Viraha. Rama is understood. Then retired
Jagama.
Then to the woods.
Vanam.
In order to implement the pledge.
Pratignyam Anupalayan.
Actually, really it should be protecting. This is a really present participle. So protecting the promise into bracket of his father. Pitu comes both ways. They made it in order to really merit it, but really you can say protecting. It's a present participle.
The dhatu for pal, is that pal or pala?
It should be pal. With any in the ending the akara might be used for uchcharanartham, that's fine. Or maybe it not. But it should be pal, really pal. I think it's not an I think it's ekar dhatu only pal. So okay, so anupalayan, so we got that. So protecting the promise of his father. Now what we're going to next is that the next shloka says 1.5 line is being taken together. So it will be tam vajantam priyo bhrata lakshmano nu jagamaha snehat vinaya sampannaha sumitrananda vardhanaha bhrataram dayito bhratuhu sau bhratram manudarshayan. That the sentence ends there. Next one is talking about Sita. From the next half comes why Sita also follows. That's the next half. So right now we can just take that this 1.5 shloka. So they might say, okay, Sardha shlokaha ekanvayi, means that this 1.5 shloka connects together. So tam vajantam priyo bharata lakshmanonu jagamaha snehad vinaya sampannaha sumitrananda vardhanaha bhrataram dayito bhratuhu sau bhratram manudarshayan. Again you have participle form here similar to the last shloka, anudarshayan we have. And then the same verb jagama is here, anu jagamas. Anu is to follow, following. So anu with the dhatu is gatyartha dhatu when you have a gatyartha dhatu, and anu is you means is to follow. Anu means paschat jagama. She followed him. So the same formation is a lit lakara dhatu gam, and it's the third person singular parasepada lit. Anu jagama means he followed. So the karta clearly Lakshmanaha anu jagama. So, and who did he follow? Tam Vajantam Ramam Anujagama. Vajantam. That Vajantam also is a present participle. But in this case, it is going to be a Dvitiya Ekvacham. It is Vrajat Pratipadikam, Vrajat. That means going. So Lakshmana followed Ramaha, who was going. So Vajantam Tam Ramam Lakshmana Anujagamaha. The ha is an Amvyaha. Amvyaha means this, so the story goes. So indeed it was. So it is said. It doesn't have any special other meaning. So ha is an Amvyaha. Ha. So Vajantam is the, not going through all the rules, but is the like Pachantam. So if you take Pratipadikam Pachat or Vajat, the Vajantam becomes Dvitiya Ekvachanam. Vajantam. Again, Dvitiya means connect with some verb or a participle. Is that Anujagama. So he followed the, interesting thing, Anujagama. So Tam Anujagama. So he followed his brother, followed Rama, I should say, followed that Rama. So because the prior shloka, again you have Tat Padam here, Tam Vajantam. Tat Padam is here. Yat Padam you don't have. So Viraha. So Tam Viram Ramam. You take from the prior shloka. Tam Viram Ramam Vajantam Anujagama Lakshmanaha. So he followed that Rama who was going. Now he has two adjectives here, actually many adjectives. Let's take the first two, Priyaha and Bhrata. So Priya also we already saw before. So Prinati iti Priyaha. Pani has a sutram especially for the word Priyaha. Igupada Nya Prikirahakaha. So specifically Pani says dhatu Pri into the Pratyaka to become Priyaha. I won't go through all the steps, but the E becomes the Iyanga Desha by 6477 and we get the word Priya. So Igupada Na Igupada Nya Pri Kiraha Kaha. So this forms in the active sense. So one who's pleasing. This is dear. Dear means one who's pleasing. I think it's 61 Igupada Na Priya. So it's number 31135. Priya 31135. And then the Bhratru Pratipadikam becomes Bhrata, Anangsau. This is special form. The Bhratru becomes Bhrata. So anything ending in Tru, the R, Kartru becomes Karta, right? Matru becomes Mata, Swasru becomes Swasa. The R ending word, they take this, they become this. The nominative, with the feminine or masculine doesn't matter. They end up being this long R ending form, Prathama Ekavachanam. So Bhrata Lakshmanaha. So Bhratru plus Su ends up being Bhrata. So Bhrata Lakshmanaha, Priyaha Bhrataha Lakshmanaha, Tam Vajantam Ramam Anujagama. And it says Snehad. Sneha is to be oily or affectionate also. So Sneha is affection. So out of this interesting this dichotomy here, because Rama went to the forest on the command of his father. He went. Lakshmana didn't go because of that. He didn't go because of that. He went because of Snehad. Because he was affectionate to Rama, only he went. He didn't go because of Pitu Nindesha. That is not said over here. Because Rama was going because he wanted to keep his father's word. Lakshmana went because he was affectionate. Out of affection to Rama, he went. So Snehad Anujagamaha. Now comes one more adjective. Vinaya Sampannaha. This should be easy. Anyone tell me what kind of compound this is? Should be kind of easy. Vinaya means dhatu ni is to lead. Vini is to be humble. So Vinaya means humble. Vinaya means humility. Vinaya is humility. So Vinayena sampannaha. Titiya tatpurushaha, who was endowed with humility, means who was humble. Sampannaha dhatu sam plus pad. Sampanna means endowed with, rich with, so who was full of humility, means he was humble. Humility. So Vinaya dhatu, again take the dhatus out of this Ramayanam. Dhatu snih is there to be affectionate. V plus V is upasarga. Dhatu ni, vini is to be humble. Sam plus pad. Pad is to generally be go. It takes basically upasarga change the meaning. Sampanna, vipanna, apanna, prapanna. Prapanna comes in Gita, chapter 2, I think, shloka verse. Shadimam tam prapannam comes in Gita, tam prapannam. So prapanna, sampanna. Sampanna means sampattihi, same dhatu. Sampatti, vipattihi. Sampattihi means like, prosperity. Sampanna means to be endowed with. So Vinayena sampannaha. So who was endowed with humility. Sumitra Ananda Vardhanaha. So Sumitra is his mother. Sumitrayaha Anandaha. Shashi Tatpurushaha. So you can make that bracket first. Sumitrayaha Anandaha. Then Anandasya Vardhanaha. So Vardhanaha actually is like Ramana Maharshi. So Madhusudanaha. So Ananda Vardhanaha. So Anandam. So Vardayati iti Vardhanaha. Vardayati iti Vardhanaha. So Pratya Liu is being used. Spanini has put his Pratya Liu. So this is another sutram which comes in 3.3 is this Pachadi, so Grahadi, Pachadi. Comes after this 3.3 I'm sorry, no, it will not come there. It will come in 3.1 itself. I'm sorry. Liu Nini Acha is what Panini says. It comes this, here it is this one, 3.1.134. Nandi Grahi Pachadibhyo Liu Nini Acha. This Pratya Liu is being Nandadi-gana, Nandanaha. So these all comes as Pratya Liu. So Vardhanaha is same. Vardhayati Vardhanaha. It's a standalone word. So then like Madhusudanaha, right? So Madho Sudanaha. Sudeti Sudanaha, the slayer of Madhu. So Sumitra Anandam Vardhana means Sumitrayaha Anandasya Vardhanaha, who was the augmenter or who increased the joy of Sumitra. Sumitra Anandam Vardhanaha. Then Bhrataram. Now Bhrataram is Dvitiya Ekvacham, same Bhratru Padipadikam. In fact, interesting shloka because we have the same Bhratru. We have Prathama is Bhrata, brother. Then Bhrataram is Dvitiya. And Bhratu is Shashti or Panchami, in this case Shashti. So we have three of the vibhaktis of Bhratru Pratipadikam here. So we have Bhrataram, Bhratu and Bhrata. Okay. So this is they say all the English family words are Sanskritam words, right? The son is Sunuhu, daughter is Duhitru, become daughter. Then your sister is Swasru, Swasa, brother is Bhrata, parents is Pitru. So a lot of these words come same words in Sanskritam. So Bhrataram is brother. Now that's Dvitiya Ekavachanam now. So this is what I said to you with these vibhaktis, Is in English it would be hard to place this word over here because it says he followed him who was going, then all these words in between, then Bhrataram comes down here. Now if we now this order is broken, but this Bhrataram connects with the Tam Vijantam Bhrataram. This is what this is the beauty, this is now the vibhakti or the power of the vibhakti. This is the power of the vibhaktis. The power is that Bhrataram could be placed down here, still get the correct meaning. So that's how these compositions are possible. All these Ramayana, Mahabharata, they compose these thousands of shlokas are composed. This is not possible. Unless you have the vibhaktis, you cannot compose like that. Otherwise you have to maintain the same order. He followed his brother who was going. You cannot say he followed him who was going, later on say brother. And the brother has no vibhakti on it. There's no vibhakti. So you cannot tell whether he is the one who's following, he's the one who's being followed, you don't know. So the Bhrataram clause is Dvitiya Ekvachanam. It again connects with that Anujagama. So he followed his brother who was going. So Tam Vijantam Bhrataram is all going together. Ramam, of course. Then comes an adjective for Lakshmanaha now. So Dayitaha. Dhatu Dai. Dai is to also we get the word Daya from that. So Daya is also called pity, compassion. So Dai is to have compassion. Dai also is to like somebody. So Dayitaha is again like Priyaha only. Who was beloved to his brother. So Bhratuhu Dayitaha. So Bhratuhu Dayitaha. So who was the beloved of his brother. These are places of play on the word Bhrata. Okay. So this Bhrata is Lakshmanaha here. This one Bhrata Anujagama. The Bhrataram is Ramam. And again Bhratu is Ramasya. Ramasya Dayataha. Ramasya Dayataha. So he was the beloved of his brother Rama. And last one is Saubhratram Manudarshayan. Saubhratram Manudarshayan. What's going on here? Now Anudarshayan we saw in the last shloka like Anupalayan. Dhatu Drish. Become again, look at the Aya inside this. Darshayan, the Aya. It's a causative form. Drish is to see. Darshaya is to show. Anudarsh means demonstrating. Anudarsham, demonstrating, darsham, to show. Now, Saubhratram, what is that? So what is happening there is that we have this compound for called Subhrata. Subhratri we can make as a pratipadikam. Means a good brother. Karmadharya. So this is a Bhratru, when you make it, it is, Shobhana Bhratru. Means a good brother. Subhratru. Then Tasya Bhavaha. His means good brotherhood. Good brotherhood. So Pratyaya An is being added here to make it into a Tadhita form of that. From Subhratu was Karmadharya. So Shobhanascha so Bhratacha. So he became became Subhratu, and then Tasya Bhavaha, the state of a good brother, or could also mean, so all this comes in the so it means Subhratrutvam. Subhratrutvam is Saubhrataram. So this in 5.1 Panini starts this adhikara of Tasya Bhavastvatalav. Tasya Bhavastvatalav. And in that all the sutras come in the sense of ness or hood, thatness, like Saundaryam, Karpanyam, Shaucham, Arjavam. All these are the taditas from this Tasya Bhavahatvatalav. Tasya Bhavastvatalav. It starts from 1:119. And there, this pratyas are given, and then below that you'll have the pratyaya and see this one igantat lagupadat. So this lagupurvat might be there's some, you have to find a sutram in here to put the pratyaya, probably an might be an, also probably an is being used. So this one won't be used because only igantat lagupurvat. So lagupurva we don't have. So but still, like when you say, Madhavam Rira Chapalam, that Madhavam Rira Chapalam, Madhavam, the beginning of Gita 16th Adhyaya, you have a whole list of virtues, which are given, and there you'll find one or two of this one also. There is the Madhavam, so Mrudu becomes Madhavam. That one is from that sutram, the Lagupurva, Iganta Lagupurva. So very first 3 shlokas of 16th Adhyaya, very wonderful list is there, See, Arjavam. Ruju becomes Arjavam. Ruju is straightforward. So Arjavam is straightforwardness, Arjavam. Then come Apayishanam. This also, Apayishanam. This is Apayishanam. So then, this is also Tom Pratyaha. Then Mardhavam. This is also another one. See, Chapala becomes Chapalam. Fickleness, chapalam, rira, achapalam is coming. So these are all these what they are. So this is Saubhratram. You have to find some rule over here to add the an pratyaha, maybe ayin, but probably an, and make it so that the beginning su takes vriddhi. Taditeshu acham adehe. In the end of 7.2 Paniya Sutram, Taditeshu acham adehe. The beginning ach takes vriddhi in a tadita. If you have the it letter, which is either the ta varga na panchama, or the chavarga panchama nya, or the ka. When these three are in it, the beginning ach takes vriddhi. So in Subhratru, the su was the beginning ach. So that is also a kind of a tip-off taditas. But that only happens like we read Bhagavat. There was no vriddhi of the Bhagavat. Didn't become Bhagavat. Because that Vatu didn't have any of these 3 it letters. So when these 3 are in it letter, either one of these 3, either the na or the chavarga nya or the also the ka, then is an it. Then in that case, when the pratyaya has this as an it, the pratyaya has one of these as an it, then the beginning ach, then the first ach, first vowel takes vriddhi. So if you see a vriddhi of the first, like Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, right? Rishi become Arsha, so Ru become Ar. Sundar become like Karpanya Dosha, Kripana become Karpanyam, Klaibyam Mas become of Partha, Kliva became Klaibyam, takes vriddhi. So watch out for this one. So if you see that coming, Tatparyam, Tatpar become Tatparyam. So this is very important indication that you may have a tadita pratyaya, which is going to which has one of these as an it. This is only in taditas. Is an it in a tadita pratyaya. I should put that here. Otherwise, no. Tadita pratyaya. Tadita pratyaya. Okay. So just again, we didn't go through all details, but this is to watch out for that saubhratram. That saubhratram. Look at that first vriddhi, and that will be tell you that you probably have tadita there. Okay. So what we have is that the Lakshmana followed his brother Rama, who was going. Lakshmana, who was dear to his brother and was his beloved. So their Priya and Dayata are almost similar meanings, not much difference there. And he did that because out of affection. And he was, with humility he was. And he was one who was increased the joy of his mother. And he did this demonstrating good brotherhood. Demonstrating good brotherhood, he did that. Just who wants to do translation for us? Any volunteers? I know Vasu can do. Anybody knew? Vasu, I know Vasu can do it. Anybody else? Urmila. Let me try. Urmila, can she do it for us maybe? Urmila, want to try this one, Urmila? No, she may not be there. Okay. I think Prasanna can do it. Let's try Prasanna. Okay, Prasanna, you want to try
Yes,
it?
Satish.
Okay.
I will try, but I'm not sure, but I'll try.
Okay, I'm sure you can do it. But I'm sure you can do it.
Thanks.
Mama vishwas asti.
Okay.
Bhavatyam
Okay, thanks.
vishwas asti. Bhavatyaha samarthya vishwas asti mama. Okay.
Thank you.
His loving brother. So, his loving brother, which one is Lakshmana? So, which one you want to take now?
Priya Brata Lakshmana?
Lakshmana is Lakshmana. Brother
Lakshmana.
is Bhrata.
Brata.
And loving is
Priya? Priya.
Yeah, loving. Okay. Who enhanced the delight of his mother Sumitra.
Sumitra Nanda Vardhana.
Sumitra Ananda Vardhanaha. So he was the one who was Sumitrayaha Anandasya Vardhanaha. So who was the enhancer, technically speaking, who was the enhancer Vardhanaha of the delight is Anandaha of Sumitra. Again, to pick up the vocabulary, your vocabulary will increase because you know what Vardhanaha means, what Ananda means, Sumitra means. So slowly your vocabulary will build. The more you read, the more vocabulary you're going to get. Okay. And who was not only adorned with modesty. What is that?
Vinaya Sampanna?
Vinaya Sampanna, adorned with modesty. And but a favorite of his brother. So that not only but is being added, okay. So that I'm probably from the commentary, you can probably say is that Priyaha Ramaha Anujagam. Let's see what the commentator says. Probably has mentioned there is again he says that the ha is iti mahat suprasiddham, very famous ha. So it goes. Everybody knows that is Sumitra. Let's see. Saubhratram is subhratuttam. He gives Anudarshan Sneham. Okay, maybe they have added this one. So not only, let's see, who was not only adorned with modesty, we got that. So Vinaya Sampannaha. But a favorite of his brother. What is that one?
Favorite of his brother. It's already done. Priya Brata?
Yeah, Priya is Brata. But let's say of his brother. Try that one. Of his brother. What is that? Of his brother. Shashti Bhakti of Bhratru. Where is that?
Shashti. Is it?
See, Bhrata is Panchama. Oh, sorry, Prathama. Bhrata is Prathama.
Is it Bratuhu?
Bhratuhu is Shashti. Like we have Pitu. Remember Pitu in the last shloka, Pituhu? That was Shashti of Pitra. So this is Shashti of his brother. And then this is the other word, favorite, Daitaha. So Bhratuhu Daitaha is favorite of his brother, Rama. Bhratuhu Daitaha.
Bratuhu Daita. Okay.
Yes, so Bhratu is of his brother, Daita is favorite. And then followed
Anujagama?
Anujagama, he followed Anujagama. His aforesaid, where is that?
Aforesaid. Mm,
There is a thumb.
tam is in the beginning.
Remember the thumb requires and the yam, yat padam is required. But it is not there. So this is how see how well they translate that. He followed that brother who was with. That means what? The aforesaid brother from the context. So that because prior shloka has Vira, Rama, Jagama. Then Tam Viram Jagama. So that same brother who we were talking before. So the aforesaid is Tam. That's why I like this translation so much, Because they make an effort to translate every word faithfully with what exactly it should be. The aforesaid is the Tam. How about brother, Dvitiya Vibhakti of brother? Which one is that? Brother in Dvitiya Vibhakti?
Brataram.
Brataram. Out of affection.
Out of affection is it Sneha?
Snehad.
Snehat.
Snehad. As the latter set out.
Only there's a Anudarshayan left.
Vrajantam.
Okay.
So he followed his brother who was set out, who had going. So he was going. This all because he followed his aforesaid brother out of affection as the latter set out, means that Vrajantam on his journey. Thus testifying that Anudarshayan.
Okay.
Vasu has a question. That means like testifying. Yes, Vasu.
Can you explain a little bit the Vrajantam? What is the origin of that?
Dhatu is Vraj.
Vraj.
Vrajati. So, and then, it's a Vraj Bhumi, right?
Yeah.
Vrajanti Gavaha Yatra. So Saha Vrajaha. So that in which the cows roam about is the Vraj Bhumi. Of course, not today anymore, but anyway, at least in the old days. So Vrajat is Pradipadikam, means going. So Vrajantam is Dvitiya Ekvachanam of that. So one who was like the same we saw in the like Anudarshayan, but those are Prathamas. Vrajantam is the same. If you take a word like Vrajat, become Vrajan, Vrajantar, Vrajantaha, Vrajantam. So this is Dvitiya Ekvachanam. So he followed his brother who was going. So Vrajantam is Dvitiya Ekvachanam of going. So means one who is going, he is in the accusative case now. He's the karma of somebody. So Lakshmana followed him who was going. So that is the Vrajat Pradipadikam Vrajat. Become Vrajantam. Okay, and the last thing is that testifying Anudarshan, demonstrating to his amicable relation.
Saubratram.
Saubratram Anudarshayan. Saubratram. So this Saubratram is going to be a Napunsakalingan Dvitiya Ekvachanam. Saubratram Anudarshayan. So it's demonstrating like Mardavam, Chapalam. So all these are going to be, this Bhavaha word they create in these neuter nouns, so like Saundaryam also. Okay, so thank you. So what we're almost out of time. So next time we start with this set of these 2.5 verses from here to here. Read out quickly and just give us the gist of it, and we'll do it. Vasudha has a question. Vasudha?
Satish, I have a small announcement to make. Ashtavidya Gurukulam has Bhaimi Vyakhya, all the 6 volumes.
Okay, good. So anybody wants
if
to...
anybody wants to have it, they can get from Ashtavidya Gurukulam.
Okay, thank you. This Ashtavidya Gurukulam, Ms. Vasudha is saying, has the Bhaimi Vyakhya, one of the best books on Vyakaran that you can ever get. It's in Hindi, but it's in Hindi. See, everything we do in this class, you can find almost in the Bhaimi Vyakhya. Prasanna has also an announcement on that.
Yes, Satishji, and we have only 20 sets, 19 sets only. So if anybody wants to get to there, should be a little bit hurry up.
Okay, all right. Thank
in the Ashtavidya.
Yes, thank you. So let's see. Vasu has a question. Vasu?
Yeah, Prasanna has answered my question. I wanted to ask whether there is enough copy or I need to rush in there to get it.
Yeah, so I think I would definitely get a copy of that. I think Vasudha also has a comment on that. Yeah, Vasudha? Vasudha, another comment? Okay, no. So basically that is one of the best books of Vyakaranam. When I was learning Vyakaranam, that was what we were following by is the Bhaimi Vyakya. One of the great scholars of our time, he devoted his life to this Shastra, never made money out of it, by the way. His greatness was, he never sold his jnanam. He only taught people, and he wrote his books, but he did not make it as a living. He was actually a Ayurveda man. So he used to live in, he died a few years ago. My teacher had actually a copy from his hand. He got it from his hand. I only got it. I think he passed away in 2002. So Bhimsen Shastriji, one of the great scholars. So definitely get that book. It's a fantastic book. It has no prerequisites. You need to know nothing to start. Of course, it will be a little bit difficult for you in the beginning, but it doesn't require you to know Sanskritam. Only you have to know Hindi reasonably. Even if you don't know Hindi well, still get it and keep it. Even if your Hindi is weak, it is worth getting the book. But you can just at least use it to, look at the anuvrittis and the examples that he gives them. It's a fantastic book. Please get it. Okay, so last 2 minutes only I'll take to give you a synopsis of the next 2.5 shlokas. And this simple sentence is Sita api anugata ramam. It's come down here. That's why you take these 2.5 shlokas together, because these are all adjectives. All these adjectives for Sita. And then finally, Sa api anujagama ramam. Anugata ramam. So anugata is she followed Rama. So she also followed Rama. And I should say not 2.5. This one ends over here, but I'm sorry. Not 2.5, but 2. So from the middle of 26 to middle of 28, okay, only these 2. So half, 1 and half. So total of 2. There's a simile at the end. Rohini Shashinam Yatha. When you have a simile, compare the vibhaktis. So who's in Prathama is Rohini. So Rohini will be an upama for Sita. And Shashinam is like Somam, Chandram is in Dvitiya. He will be an upama for Rama. So just like the Rohini Nakshatra follows the moon, similarly Sita followed Rama, upama. And in all of these here, Ramasya Daita Bharya, the same word Daita. So he was his very beloved wife. Nityam Pranasama. She was always like his very life. Hita. She was well disposed to him. Janakasya Kule Jata. She was born in the lineage in the line of Janaka. Deva Maya Iva Nirmita. So she was created like the mystic power of the Devas. Deva Maya. Urmila has a question. Yeah. So Urmila? No, I guess your mic is not working. You can type your question because we can't hear you. Okay. Then Sarva Lakshana Sampanna. She was endowed with all good qualities. Narina Uttama Vadhu. She was the best bride among all women. And that Sita also followed Rama. Just like Rohini follows the sun. The moon, I'm sorry. Shashinam. Shasha is a rabbit, by the way. So Shashin is one who, like Balin, one who has a rabbit. Because the moon has a rabbit stamp on it. So they call it, Shashankaha and all that. So Shashinam, Shashin Padipadikam. Shashin, rabbit. So Ramasya Shashti Ekvachanam, Daita Prathama Ekvachanam, Bharya Prathama Ekvachanam. Nityam is Avyayam, who is always. Prana Sama, again qualifying Sita. So Prathama Ekvachanam, Strilinge. Sita also same thing. Janakasya Shashti, Janakasya Kule. Kulam is Napumsakam. So it is Saptami Ekvachanam. In the family of Napumsakam, family of Janaka. Jata is qualifying Sita. Prathama Ekvachanam, Strilinge. Deva Maya. This is, so this is also Samasa for Devanam. Maya could be Devanam Maya. So she was the Shakti of the Devas. So this is Prathama Ekvachanam, Strilinge. Iva is Avya. Nirmita is Dhatu Ma becomes Mita. So Ma is to measure. Nirma is to create. Nirmanam. So Nir plus Ma is to create. Nirmita is created. Again, Prathama Ekvachanam, Strilinge. Sarva Lakshana Sampanna is kind of straightforward. Sarva Lakshana is a Karmadharya, and then Sarvaihi Lakshanaihi Sampanna. Adorned with all good qualities. Again, Prathama Ekvachanam for Sita. Strilinge Prathama Ekvachanam. Narinam Shashti Bhavachanam. Narinam Uttama. She is best. Uttama Vadhu. She was the best bride among among so Narinam is Shashti Bhavachanam, Uttama Vadhu is Pratama Ekvachanam, Sita Pratama Ekvachanam, Api Jamvya, Anugata is again Pratama Ekvachanam, Ramam is Ditya Ekvachanam, then Shashinam, we already talked about that, is the Upama, is the, okay, Urmila has the question, okay, why, why Dayita and Dayita, okay. The Urmila, what's happening, Dayitaha is qualifying Lakshmanaha. So Dayitaha here is qualifying Lakshmanaha. That's why it is in this Pullinge Ekavachanam. This Dayita is qualifying Sita. So that is why we have the, this is like, this became the Stilinge Prathama Ekavachanam. So this is qualifying Sita, this is qualifying Lakshmanaha. So that's why it became Dayitaha, this became Dayita. It's an adjective, so Dayita. Prasanna has a question. Let's see.
Yes, Satish. Same thing with the Sarvalakshana Sampannaha, Sarvalakshana Sampanna.
Yes.
Same thing with these two, right?
So Vinaya Sampannaha we have here. Sampannaha is qualifying this one, and then the Lakshmana is qualifying there, and Sampanna is qualifying Sita down here. That's also to the top pratyaya made into the feminine. So I think Vasu had also a question. Vasu?
Yes, Satishji. Anujagama and Anugata are different usages, or
yeah, Anujagama is a verbal form. It's a
yeah, that's what.
form. Anugata is a participle form.
Participle form. Yeah.
So you really say Anugata Asid, so you supply the Asid or Babuva. So followed. So that this follow in English it sounds the same, followed. But one that Anujagama is a verb form. Jagama, she followed. And there Anugata is that, is a participle form. Anugata is so she went.
It's still the Tinganda Shabdam, or
no. It's a Subanta Pratipadikam.
Subanta
Padam. And Subanta Padam, and his Anugata is that you have to supply, but it kind of has a verbal force behind it. So Anugata, you can supply Dhatu, As or Bhu with that to make complete sense. Like, yes, for example, Ramaha Vanam Gataha. Ramaha Vanam Jagama. Right? So he went to the forest, and he was gone to the forest, kind of speak, So he went in a different, so in English I don't know how to explain, but one is the participle form, the Subanta form, Anugata. Other one is Tinganta form, Anujagama. Okay. But Dhatu is same, Anu plus Gam. The Dhatu is same, but different usage. Okay. Let's see. I think Urmila's mic is not working, but otherwise I got the question, I think. Okay. So that's what we will do next time. We will start from here. If you can home, do some grammar, read the translation. And this next one also is pretty easy. Is again Anugataha. So Paurehi. So Puram is a city. Pauraha is citizens. So Paurehi Anugataha Ramaha. So he was followed by the citizens and also by his father Dasharathena. So Pitra is Titya Vakti of Pitru. Pitra Dasharathena cha Anugataha Duram, for a long distance. Okay, so we'll stop there. Stay back for questions. So Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje. Ramena Bhiyata Nishachara Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Rama Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chittale Sada Bhautame Bho Ramama Muddhara. Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame. Sahasranama Tattvalyam Rama Nama Varanane. Sri Rama Nama Varanana Onnameti. Yeah, Urmila's mic is not working. Otherwise, I got the reply. Okay, that's good. So any